Hey guys, this is the East Coast Economic Update for May the 8th, 2009. Just wanted to touch some bases and give you some anecdotal information that had transpired the last couple of days. I needed to do the religious video for religious reasons, but here's the deal. As I had said before, about 2 months ago, to just ignore the Dow and the industrial averages. They were going to go all over the place, and it had no basis in reality. I just got this morning's Financial Times, and the lead article is Treasury yields soar after poor bond auction. Obviously, there's the bonds have shot up from the 10 years at I think 3%, and the 30 year is at 4%, or the other way around. I have to double check. It's very interesting to see that the bond yields are moving. These are the things I need you to keep an eye on. They don't necessarily lie. The modern mystic kind of pointed out that the Fed will buy back shares to lower the yields, or buy shares to lower the yields. But as less and less people buy the shares, more the thing will rise higher and higher. So just be aware of that. Once she reaches, like I said, once it inverts, once the 2 year advances over the 10 year, that's it. And to quote the modern mystic, Nick said that yesterday that if they're playing basically, I'm paraphrasing, Russian roulette with your money, and they're shooting the whole wad, and the only people that are going to lose out here are you and me, all of us. So let's just keep an eye on that. That's something you really do need to keep an eye on. Another thing I'm going to lead, and I'm going to list everything here. Also, very interesting thing, everybody's talking about green shoots and the recovery. Of course, Paul Volcker, who stated in the Bloomberg a couple of days ago, which I'm also going to list, said that the new full employment will be around 8 or 9% unemployment. 1993-94, full employment was considered anything less than 4% unemployment. When it got to 3.9, we were considered fully employed. And don't forget that 4% is really 8% because the numbers had changed during the Clinton administration, and they didn't count people who just stopped looking for work or people who were underemployed. So with Volcker saying that it's really 8-9% is more like 16 to 18% is going to be the new numbers. Well, folks, there's only one other place that has that, and that's Europe. Full employment to them is anywhere from 8 to 12% unemployment, and they have a welfare state. We don't yet. But I don't think we can afford to have a welfare state, even if they try to set something like that up. So it's something to think about. Now to the anecdotal information. The last 2 weeks, I've had a huge surge of customers, brand new customers. And very interesting thing about all these customers had the same thing about them. Most of them were either unemployed or working part-time after being laid off, and had stopped looking for work because, and one person I quoted was, and he was an IT specialist, so I've got an MBA, he says to me, and he says, and I fax my resume or go on monster.com, and I get responses from the said potential employer that they have in some cases 600 to 1,000 applicants, even with more experience and in some cases more education. So a lot of people are just bagging it in May and waiting for the fall. So they're taking full advantage of the 9 months of unemployment benefits or severance package that they may have received. And they're doing things like running a marathon or walking the Avon Walk, raising money for breast cancer. And I find this is the very first time I've ever seen this. And I've been doing this for about a decade, and I've never ever seen people just giving up. And we're not talking about, Joe the plumber kind of situations. We're talking about, educated, white-collar workers who are in their 40s and mid-30s and have just given up. It's great for me. I'm selling them shoes, but that's only going to last so long. So I think that this is the beginning. This range, like I said, between the bond yields and another indicator, that anecdotal indicator, is telling me that I may be on the right course as far as the 60 to 90 day range. I think that after those 90 days are over, around July, I think the reality is going to at least start. Not unlike when the reality kind of started for people with the when the subprime started to implode and then bring down all days and everybody else. And of course, all around, I had gotten an email from somebody from Raleigh, North Carolina, and they're talking about that's the fastest growing city in America, and entire strip malls are up for sale, and there's nobody in the building. So keep an eye. Gerald Celente had just sent me an email. Well, his office sent me an email, not him personally, indicating that the commercial real estate is going to compound the problem, and it seems like that's happening. China has stopped. I don't care what anybody says. China has stopped buying our bonds. I think what's happening is we are now in this feedback loop where the Federal Reserve the Treasury is issuing bonds, nobody's buying them, and the Federal Reserve is buying them, and around we go until we run out of money. So just keep your eyes open. Like I said, when those two bond yields invert, and they will eventually, it's going to be a mess. All right, folks, have a great weekend, and I'm going to work on the middle part of my series that I'm doing on the early church and the development of rabbinical Judaism. All right, peace.